All right, guys, let me introduce you to my ex-boyfriend, Chris.
A lot of these exes that come out when this show airs do it for the clout too. So I had to find a Love is Blind couple from this season 10 to talk about, because I'm not going to talk about every couple. I'm not going to talk about every episode. But you know, what makes me want to talk about some of these shows where I struggle to become invested in them is the outside drama. And Chris seems to be that drama, not only from the outside, but actually on the show too. I feel like there are multiple storylines right now that kind of involve Chris, thanks to some triangles that went on within the pods. But outside of the show,
All right, guys, let me introduce you to my ex-boyfriend, Chris.
his ex is also coming out to kind of hate on him. It's hard to tell if she's just being accurate or if she's just being a hater. The truth is usually somewhere in the middle. We'll get to her in a second, though. Let's actually talk a little bit about Chris and his coupling. So he is with Jessica. And I feel like they are not even close to be going to be able to work out because, first of all, what the show has alluded to is that Jessica is kind of very political, and she's political very much on the left. People have been digging up Chris's social media though, and he is very political, very much on the right. And so I already think that alone is a bad sign. I don't think in this day and age where politics has become so extreme, two people on the opposite ends of the spectrum can really truly work out in a relationship. And I think by watching this show, my impression is that Chris is okay with things not working out because he had something with Brianna too. And we're going to see, at least we see in the preview, they're going to be talking about that within these next episodes that will be dropping this week. Now, Brianna is another one who I am on the fence about, but she is involved with this whole storyline thread of hers and Chris's because Chris was getting close to two women in the pod. She was one, and obviously Jessica was the other. And Brianna was getting close to Chris and also Connor. She is now with Connor. And ever since they've been out of the pods and they had their whole group meeting, I have felt as though Brianna was expecting like more attention. Or I also think like to give her the benefit of the doubt that they were all in these pods, they were all having these conversations, and I felt like Brianna thought that her and Chris were going to have deeper conversations in person too, even though she's with Connor now. And I don't know if she should have expected that on their first night together with the whole group. I think that would have been ridiculous because, she's supposed to be with Connor. Why would she have these deep conversations with Chris on night one? But there's some truth there. Like they were all up on these pods having deeper conversations, and then you're gonna get out of the pods and you're gonna act like none of that happened because you're with someone else. I also get where she's coming from, even though she also came off like she just really, really wanted some attention. It is funny though because her nickname is supposed to be Breezy, and I feel like out of all of the people out of the pods, she is anything but breezy. She is always analyzing everything, sometimes over analyzing everything. Now I made one video so far this season, and Connor did catch a stray in that video, even though it was more about Emma and Steven. But I felt like within the pods, Connor was very fake. Connor just gave me the energy that a lot of people give me on this show over the past few seasons since I've been watching and struggling to become invested, is that a lot of people come onto this show not really truly thinking they're going to fall in love. They just do it to be on a show, to be on a Netflix show. They're going to get attention on social media. That's what Connor came off like to me. He was love bombing multiple people within the pods, or just trying to tell a lot of women within the pods that they're the ones for him. And so, do I think that Brianna and Connor are going to last? Not even close. There's no way. Brianna's over analyzing everything, and Connor is there just to be on the show. That's how I feel about them. But the Brianna and Chris connection could be more meaningful, I suppose. Because as we discussed at the beginning here, I don't think Chris and Jessica are compatible whatsoever. Even without their politics, I just don't really feel it for the two of them. And so we're going to see in these upcoming episodes if Chris and Brianna are actually going to have those deeper conversations that Brianna wants to have. We see in the preview that Chris is telling Brianna that Connor is basically too much of a pushover for Brianna. And I just think maybe he is, or maybe it's because Connor is not here to really find love. He's here to be on the show. As for Chris, though, he has this whole quad triangle happening on the show, and then his girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend of his, has come out and started posting all over TikTok and really talking a lot of shit about him.
He claims he's 5'8", but I'm not here to argue with delusions.
So, the first pot shot she takes at him is that he says he's 5'8" when he's actually shorter. This is the kind of commentary that leads me to believe she's really just being a hater. She will go on here to talk about some examples as to why he sucks. But if people like Connor go onto these shows to just be on the show and get attention from being on a Netflix show and become possibly popular on social media, a lot of these exes that come out when this show airs do it for the clout too. And I kind of feel like this girl is doing it for the clout too. Oh, look, my ex-boyfriend is on a reality show. Let me put in my 2 cents and try and get attention by being super negative.
Are you in the market for a short white guy who's a walking red flag and thinks he's God's gift because he owns 2 pairs of designer sneakers? Then step right up, because Chris is your man.
So she's taking a little bit more shots at him here. It seems just very, very much for attention to me. She calls him a short white guy, even though she's white too, so I don't know what white has to do with it. But yeah, her commentary here really wasn't hitting for me because to me she sounds like a hater. Now, the big thing that came out in these videos of hers is her alleging that he is very much deep in credit card debt.
Claims he's so financially stable while being $60,000 deep in credit card debt. Sued by 2 different credit card companies.
Not just a little bit of credit card debt, $60,000 worth of credit card debt. She goes on to say that 2 different credit card companies have sued him over that. So that's an alleged thing. We'll see if that actually comes out to be true.
Serious inquiries only, ladies. He'll love bomb you and then vanish faster than your X list.
Her other accusation here is that he is a big old love bomber and then he will ghost, which is possibly true. I feel like that is just modern times in general. A lot of people do that. I do just find it ironic though, because Connor is the other man within this quad triangle, and Connor is clearly the love bomber of the 2, or at least was in the pods. And now outside of the pods, Connor just seems to kind of just be there because Connor just wanted to be on the show. So, a lot of these storylines, even though this is one of the more messier ones coming out of the pods, there were some other messy storylines within the pods that I just don't have the energy to discuss. Maybe I will if there's more drama within these next batch of episodes. But even this kind of drama and this ex coming out on social media, all these things do is always lead me to believe that love is not blind. You need to see what people look like before you start dating them, because this concept of a show never seems to truly work in any of the seasons that I've watched. It's always some sort of bullshit. And that's kind of, again, what's happening this season, unfortunately. I will say this season is better than the last two, though, at least. Ohio has that going for it compared to wherever the last two seasons were. I know one was Colorado. I don't know where season 8 was. I don't exactly remember. But I'm going to struggle watch the next few episodes, and maybe another couple or some outside drama will interest me to talk about. But I did want to point this out. All in all, what I'm gathering here, Chris's ex is a hater, but Chris probably does suck too. But so does kind of everyone in this quad triangle except for maybe Jessica. She seems like the innocent, naive one of this bunch, where Brianna is over analyzing everything and just wanting a lot of attention, and Connor's just there, period.